6 shocking truths about the chosen ones who never go out. You'll be haunted. The clock struck midnight. Beneath the pale glow of a gnarled old street lamp, strange shadows danced in the flickering light. It was a night like no other. People whispered tales of the chosen ones, those who had become legends in their own right. No one knew how or why they chose to remain locked away, but there was something eerie about their silence. Their stories gripped the townsfolk with fear and fascination, each truth darker than the last. Rumor had it that the chosen ones could see things others couldn't. They spoke in riddles, their eyes glinting like polished stones, harboring secrets of a world unseen. Some claimed they heard the wind carrying whispers from the beyond. One girl swore she saw a figure watching her from her window, eyes peering through the cracks in the heavy curtains of a rumored chosen one's home. Every heart thumped in rhythm with the mysteries that wrapped around them, clenching tight with anxiety at the unknown. The streets were still, tensions rising as word spread. Did you hear about the ones who never go out? They may be waiting for something, or someone, an old grandpa said, his voice trembling with both excitement and dread. Couples passing by glanced at each other, hearts racing as they quickened their pace, nervous laughter bubbling up when they thought of the tales. Then came the moment that gripped them all. A chilling scream pierced the night, echoing off the empty alleyways. It sent shivers racing down spines, hands trembling under the weight of fear. Had one of the newly emerged chosen ones come to take someone? Or was it just another trick of the mind? Folks gathered, uncertain but drawn together, exchanging terrified glances filled with questions that pulled thick in the air. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Feeling their hearts pound as they stood close together, the group hesitated. The shadows felt thicker now, almost alive, weaving in and out of the moonlight. What awaited them in the darkness? Would the chosen ones reveal their secrets, or would they be trapped in their haunted silence forever? As the clock tolled once more and the night deepened, anticipation curled in their stomachs like a twisting vine ready to snap. Each breath felt heavier, breaths mingling with a sense of dread and wonder. What would they discover in the shadows? Would they dare to venture into the unknown? The air was primal now, electric, charged with uncertainty. As the crowd hesitated, a young man at the forefront, Jonah, took a shaky breath. "We can't just stand here," he shouted, his voice breaking the heavy silence. His determination flickered like an erratic flame. "If something is happening, we need to find out what." Whispers swept through the group. "Are you crazy? What if the chosen ones really are out there?" Sarah piped up, her eyes wide with fear. "They're different. What if they can see us? What if they choose us?" The conversation spiraled into panic. A chorus of no and don't rang out as the townsfolk exchanged worried glances. Yet deep down, curiosity clawed at them, gnawing relentlessly. The scream echoed once more in Jonah's mind, a haunting melody urging him toward the darkness. Just as the tension reached a boiling point, an unseen force rustled the trees surrounding the square. The branches twisted like skeletal fingers, and something glinted in the corner of Jonah's eye. A flicker of movement. Was it just a shadow, or something more? The heartbeat of the world around him thumped louder than ever as he squinted into the darkness. With a determined nod, Jonah raised a hand. "I'll go. I need to see for myself." "Wait," a voice cried out, but he couldn't hear the protest. Something inside him ignited a hunger for truth. Jonah stepped forward, every nerve on high alert, as the crowd parted. He moved like a soldier ready for battle, pulse racing, tightening his grip on the small flashlight that flickered weakly in his hand. The closer he got to where the scream had come from, the tighter the darkness caught around him. Sweat trickled down his back. There was an instinctual fear urging him to turn back. But he pressed on, the glow from his flashlight wavering like the doubts in his mind. Then he heard it again, a whisper, hushed but clear, carried on the wind. Help us, who is there?" Jonah demanded, the bravado dripping from his voice like the cold sweat pooling in his palms. The wind ceased. The world held its breath. A form emerged from the shadows, its outline distorted and ghostly. Jonah's heart dropped to his stomach. He couldn't see her clearly, but he felt something, an attraction, a pull, like gravity drawing him into the unknown. "Jonah," the figure whispered, her voice like a soft breeze that chilled him to the bone. "You are one of us now." He was taken aback, confusion twisting his thoughts. "What do you mean?" But before she could answer, the shadows shifted again, swirling around him, an impenetrable curtain of darkness that felt alive. A soft moan echoed, chilling him further. Senses heightened, he braced himself. This was everything he feared and craved. Inside the shifting shadows, countless eyes blinked open, glimmers of recognition and sorrow. Somewhere, lost in the madness, he heard someone calling his name, a desperate voice cutting through the overwhelming buzz of secrets clamoring for release. It was Sarah, fighting the fear threatening to swallow her whole. "Jonah, don't. Come back." But Jonah was already deep in the web spun by the chosen ones, the lines blurring between fear and fascination. The shadows were whispering secrets too tempting to resist. What awaited him on the other side of the veil? Would he emerge a chosen one himself, or would he be swallowed by the darkness forever? And as he stepped into the unknown, a sudden realization hit. The legends didn't just haunt the chosen ones, they ensnared anyone curious enough to follow their call. As the figure drew him in, a new scream rang out, this one filled with desperation, begging for relief. Fear washed over Jonah, unraveling the thrill. They were in more danger than he could have imagined. What had he just stepped into? Before he could comprehend the weight of his decision, the shadows tightened around him. Jonah felt the shadows grip him like icy hands, twisting around his body, pulling him deeper into their realm. The weight of the darkness pressed against him, and for a moment, he thought he might suffocate. Panic flared in his chest, fluttering like a captured bird, but curiosity held him fast. "Let go of me!" he shouted, though his voice trembled, cracking under the strain of fear. The figure still shrouded in shadows seemed unfazed. "You must understand, Jonah. There is no escaping this now. You've crossed the threshold." Her voice was melodic, yet it sent chills racing along his spine. A flicker of light drew Jonah's gaze. Bright and piercing, it pulsed like a heartbeat deep within the darkness. The eyes surrounding him blinked, multiple pairs glinting with a knowing sadness. What had he stumbled into? And then it hit him, harsh and cold. The legends about the chosen ones, they didn't just choose their victims, they wove them into their stories, binding them forever. "Help us," the whisper rose again, echoing like a dirge, pulling at his soul. "Who are you?" Jonah demanded, trying to wrestle his anger over fear. "What do you want from me?" The shadows seemed to swirl and shimmer, revealing distant memories, faces filled with sorrow, remnants of those who came before. Chosen ones. Their eyes burned with a mix of hunger and regret. They had been kids like him once, full of life, and now? Now they were only whispers in the wind, lost inhabitants of a nightmare. "Are you willing to accept the truth?" the enigmatic figure asked, her tone insistent. The shadows around him thickened, almost suffocating. Jonah's heart thundered. He could feel the pull of something ancient tugging at his very essence, an invitation laced with danger. Jonah. Sarah's voice rang out again, louder this time, filled with desperation. Please. Just come back. You don't have to do this. The first pangs of regret began to bubble inside Jonah, battling against the irresistible lure of the dark, against the wishes of his friend pleading for sanity. But the shadows whispered promises, tales of power and influence, stories of his place among them, as if he was destined to be more than just a boy from a forgotten town. Don't listen to them. Sarah cried out, tears in her voice. They're lying. Jonah swayed, the conflict tearing at his heart. Fear and intrigue fought for dominance, but the darkness had a way of unfurling forbidden desires, unraveling the threads of reason. What happens if I leave? Will you let me go? The figure stepped forward, the fog of shadows retreating slightly, revealing a face striking and beautiful, yet hauntingly tragic. We don't let go, Jonah. We embrace you. Embrace your true self. Could he trust her? Behind her eyes lay secrets, but were they the truths he desperately sought, or the unraveling of his very being? Jonah. Sarah's frantic voice broke through, but it felt distant now, like a song from another world. Then deep within the shadows, he caught sight of something else, a flash of light again, this time brighter, more significant. It pulsed in rhythm with his heart, as if beckoning him, offering clarity amidst the chaos. What if leaving meant abandoning who he might become? And what if staying meant losing everything he once cherished? The weight of his decision anchored him in confusion. As he battled with himself, the shadows billowed around him, churning, threatening to consume him whole. Make your choice. The figure urged, her voice now demanding. And just like that, the world trembled, tremors quaking through the air, the collective consciousness caught in the balance between light and dark. Would Jonah choose to step fully into the abyss, or would he manage to pull himself back to safety? In that heartbeat of hesitation, he realized something dreadful. It wasn't just his life at stake. Whatever choice he made would ripple through every soul connected to him. But before he could articulate his decision, the ground shuddered beneath him, and the shadows roared back to life, blurring the lines between reality and nightmare. Something gruesome awaited him should he choose wrong. And then, just as he felt himself slipping away, a deafening silence engulfed him. Where had the shadows taken him? What lay ahead, truth or terror? Jonah felt his heart drop into the pit of his stomach as the darkness morphed around him, reshaping into an endless void. Gritting his teeth, he pushed against the weight pressing down upon him, desperate to breathe, to think. It was absurd, but part of him couldn't shake the feeling that something incredible was about to reveal itself, a truth he could wield like a sword. He blinked and braced himself, gathering every ounce of strength he could muster. What are you? He demanded. Do I have any power here? As if in response, the shadows danced, swirling faster until a cacophony of voices erupted, a symphony of despair echoing through the abyss. They cried out with collective sorrow. You hold the fate of us all, Jonah. The figure stepped forward, a gaunt silhouette moving with the grace of smoke. You've been called. Not just as a chosen one, Jonah, but as a protector. You can set us free or doom us to the eternal night. A shiver danced down his spine, heightening the urgency of the moment. Set you free. His voice quaked. But how can I do that? With a sweep of her hand, the figure revealed a glimmering orb of light, floating delicately in her grip. It pulsed with life, tinged with ethereal colors, each swell casting a fleeting glow that illuminated Jonah's fearful expression. This is the heart of your destiny. It will guide your choice. Jonah's eyes widened as he reached forward, instinctively drawn to it. But at that moment, the ground beneath him trembled violently, and before he could grasp the orb, it sank into the shadows. The vibration rattled through him, whispers turned to shrieks as countless voices warned, "Do not seek it. Do not trust her." He turned back to the figure, his brow furrowed. "Why should I trust you? Why do I feel this pull?" The figure stared back, her eyes burning like fire. "Because, Jonah, you belong to both worlds. You were never merely human. You are part of the darkness and part of the light, a bridge, a weapon." His head spun. Was she trying to manipulate him, or was it really true? He felt an instinctive tug, like a magnet drawing him toward something he both feared and craved, a sense of belonging. Suddenly, the shadows began moving faster, screeching as they closed in on him. "Choose now," the figure urged, her voice slicing through the chaos, sharp as a knife. "Shut up!" Jonah yelled, anxiety clawing at his throat as he stumbled backward. He couldn't think. The voices, the images, children trapped like flies in a web of darkness, were closing in on him. "This is insane." Sarah's voice echoed in his mind, "You're stronger than this. Don't let them win." It jolted him, rekindling the flame of hope. Was there another way? Could he resist the darkness without succumbing to its seductions? A pull of light against the shadows softened the noise momentarily. He could see them clearer now, the faces, the pain etched in their features, weeping from lost dreams. Tears burned in Jonah's eyes. Was he truly the key to setting them free? "Make your choice," the figure repeated. "Do not hesitate." With a desperate shout, Jonah lunged toward the flickering light, preparing to seize his fate and wrestle control from the depths of despair. But as his fingers grazed the illumination, everything exploded into blinding radiance. The walls of shadows peeled back, revealing a world that was both terrifying and beautiful. And at the center stood Sarah, her face twisted in horror. "Jonah, no!" she yelled, but it was too late. He was already crossing the threshold between realms. What had he unleashed? The question echoed deep within him. Would the darkness consume him, or could he reclaim the light that slipped through his fingers? All he could do was plunge ahead, heart pounding, toward whatever lay in wait. He was not just confronting shadows, he was awakening something far greater. But in the rising tension, something dark flickered behind him. Whatever he had unleashed, it was now hunting him alive, and it was hungry. Where would it lead him? And what sinister truths would he uncover about the chosen ones before they end? Jonah stumbled through the radiant threshold, his senses engulfed by a clash of vivid colors and pulsating sounds that felt like a storm crashing around him. Bare, as if reborn, he gasped at the breathtaking world that unfolded in front of him, a juxtaposition of vibrancy and despair. Trees twisted skyward, their branches knotted with glowing vines that shimmered like stars, while shadows lingered, festering at the edges. "Jonah!" Sarah rushed toward him, her eyes wide with fear, and relief washed over him like a warm wave. But the shadows lurked behind her, crawling like smoke. "You don't understand. We need to get out of here. Now." The weight of urgency pressed down on his chest. "What is happening? What did I do?" Sarah grabbed his arm, her grip firm and desperate. "You cross into the realm of the conquered spirits. The darkness you touch, it's alive. It was waiting for you, it knows you." "What do you mean? Waiting for me?" The echoes of the abyss haunted him, the voices still clamoring in his mind, filling him with dread. "I thought we had time, I thought you were safe." Her voice trembled. "Now, they're coming for you. They want you, know, they need you." Terror erupted within Jonah. Shadows rise in the corners of his vision, creeping closer with glacial precision. "What do they need me for?" Before Sarah could respond, the ground beneath them vibrated again, like a heartbeat approaching faster and faster. The shadows began to congeal, forming nightmarish shapes, faces twisted in anguish, hands reaching out as they screamed in silence. "Run!" Sarah cried, pulling Jonah deeper into the vibrant chaos. They darted through the shimmering underbrush, where the colors shifted as if alive. Jonah's heart thundered against his ribcage, each beat a drum warning him of impending doom. What lay beyond the vibrant brightness turned darker, like a devouring void eager to consume everything. "Jonah, listen. To control what you've awakened, you need to understand who the chosen ones truly are. You must." Sarah was interrupted by a chilling sound, a low growl that rumbled like thunder from the shadows behind them. Jonah turned to see a dark figure, a grotesque silhouette pushing through the shadows, his eyes burning like coals, hungry for something he couldn't comprehend. Fear coiled tightly around him, threatening to choke his breath. "What do I have to understand?" he yelled, fear driving his voice to the edge. "What is so important that I need to know now?" "The chosen ones are not just protectors," Sarah strained to keep her voice steady as they ran. "They are pawns in a game. Blood is the key. You must find the origin, the heart of it all." A frigid wind twisted around him, chilling him to the core as Jonah tried to process what she meant. Blood. The heart. The burning, anguished faces from the shadows beckoned him, and an undeniable connection twisted within him, piercing through his fears. "The heart of my destiny?" he whispered, eyes wide with dawning realization. "Yes, but it's not just yours. It's the heart of everything, the power to either unleash or bind this darkness. But time is running out." In that moment, the shadow lunged, a dark mass that twisted and snapped, aiming for them like a raging beast. Jonah felt a surge of energy. Instinctively, he summoned the light deep within him, embracing it like a shield. The creature recoiled, its form distorting as light collided against darkness. Jonah could feel something within him awakening, a force he never knew existed, a fury against the encroaching void. "Jonah!" Sarah shouted, urgency lacing her voice. "You have to decide. Fight it, or let it consume you." The shadow growled, a haunting reminder of what awaited him if he failed. With nothing but his courage and the pulse of the unknown, Jonah squared his shoulders, ready for whatever reckoning lay beyond. But as he prepared to unleash the light within, a whisper slithered through the air, a sultry invitation that twisted through his thoughts. "Join us." What did it mean to surrender to that darkness? What temptation lay ahead? He was torn between the desperate cry of the light and the tantalizing allure of the shadow. Jonah had no choice but to confront the question that echoed in his chest: would he become the hero they needed, or a pawn in a dark game of power? The choice loomed before him, deadly and perilous, waiting for him to step closer to its edge. Would he rise to the moment, or would he fall? The shadows encroached, and one thing was certain: the heart of this dark conspiracy was beating just beneath the surface, ready to reveal secrets that chilled him to the bone. What other truths awaited him in this confrontation, and what price would he pay for knowledge? Jonah felt the pulse of the darkness drumming through him like a distant drumbeat. Shadows clawed at his mind, whispering promises of power, seducing him with haunting echoes that promised freedom from his fears. His heart raced wildly, caught in a conflict between two worlds, the blinding light of hope and the consuming darkness promising strength. Chaos blurred the edges of his vision as he stood frozen for a moment. Then Sarah's voice cut through the suffocating haze, sharp and demanding. "Jonah, now. We don't have time." Her urgency jolted him back to the present, to the reality that a shadowed creature was prowling, just steps away, hungering for him. With a sudden lurch, summons of instinct gripped him. He felt the flickering flame inside, begging release. Shadows danced around him, curling and weaving into a tapestry of despair. But even amongst the chaos, an ember of courage sparked. He had to choose: embrace that light or resign to the darkness. Jonah took a deep breath, eyes honing in on the creature prowling before him. The air grew thick with tension as the nightmarish form advanced. Its breath, hot and foul, washed over him, curling like smoke. The words "join us" echoed in his mind, a comforting lullaby wrapped in dread. But there was only one answer. Never. He shouted, channeling every ounce of energy within. Light cascaded from his palms, an incandescent wave crashing against the shadow as weight. For just a moment, the dark beast hesitated, caught off guard. "Yes!" shouted Sarah, her face glowing with fierce determination, a defiant flicker against the looming void. "Now, Jonah! Bind it! Show it who you are!" With newfound resolve, Jonah let the light ripple outwards, expanding with fierce intensity. It swallowed the shadows, momentarily shattering their grip. The creature shrieked, a horrid wail that echoed through the forest, vibrating the very air around them. Jonah felt the ground tremble beneath his feet, harmonizing with the kaleidoscope of colors flickering around him, but the darkness wouldn't he let go so easily. It pulsed malevolently, morphing, twisting into tendrils that lunged toward him, seeking to reclaim what it had lost. Jonah fluttered his fingers, shaping the light like a weapon, concentrating harder. It responded, dancing and flickering at his command, repelling the encroaching tendrils. "Keep going," Sarah urged, eyes blazing with fear and pride. "You're strong enough. I can feel it," he cried out, both terrified and exhilarated. The shadows shrieked again, this time with undeniable rage, and Jonah realized he wasn't just fighting for himself. This battle was larger than him, entwined with every spirit trapped within the darkness. Just then, a chilling thought sliced through the joy of victory. What if I can't control it? He wondered, fear slicing through the adrenaline. What if it consumes me instead? In that heart-stopping moment, Jonah's thoughts spiraled, intertwining doubt with determination. Could he truly bind this darkness? Or would it slip through his fingers if he faltered? Resolute, he cast the doubts aside. "I want to be your pawn," Jonah yelled, unleashing a pulse of light that sent shockwaves through the air. The shadows recoiled, their pulsating form flickering like a dying flame, but the call of the darkness grew louder, insistent and seductive. Join us become more every ounce of temptation twisted in his gut, and with it came an understanding the heart of the shadows wanted control, wanted him to succumb. But he had to remember what Sarah had told him. The key is blood. The heart with determination ignited anew, Jonah focused on the truth buried deep within him. Blood bound him to more than fear, it tied him to hope. With a fierce shout, he plunged deeper into the light, channeling its essence not just against the shadows, but to fuse with the energy of the spirits trapped behind the curtain of darkness. In that instant, a brilliant radiance erupted. The light breathed, expanding beyond him, intertwining with the echoes of the lost, sending ripples of hope throughout the oppressive depths. As the shadows writhed and screamed, a massive wave swept over Jonah, and for one fleeting moment, he felt their history, their despair, their unyielding thirst for release. All of it surged through him, amplifying his strength. The swirling chaos around them erupted, the beast now a chaotic swirl of incomprehensible shapes trying to escape the binding light. Jonah's heart pounded furiously as he wrestled with the weight of his awakening. Was he finally grasping control, or merely dancing on the edge of oblivion? But just as it seemed he might grasp victory, a triumphant growl reverberated from deep within the shadows. "Foolish boy! This is just the beginning." A bone-chilling laugh echoed, reverberating through the vibrant landscape. Jonah suddenly felt the air grow heavy, a promise of impending doom looming in the distance, a force even stronger approaching. Jonah stared into the darkness, dread pulling in his stomach. "What now?" he whispered, unaware of the answer waiting just beyond the next moment, lurking in the depths of an unknown shadow that bore his name. The shadows began to pulse, drawing closer, like a thick fog sipped in malice. Jonah's heart raced as a chill crawled up his spine. He glanced at Sarah, her eyes wide, mirroring his panic. "What is it?" she whispered, fear evident in her voice. He could sense it, a darkness deeper than the one they battled, a looming presence that seemed to swallow the very light they fought to protect. "Something's coming," he replied, voice shaky but resolute. The air thickened, each breath feeling like a heavy weight bearing down on him, the taste of rust creeping into his mouth. Jonah clenched his fists, willing the light to stay within him, while mentally tracing the remnants of his strength. He could not fail now. Not when the stakes had risen so dangerously. "Jonah!" Sarah's voice cracked, urgency ringing through her words. The breathless essence of impending doom was palpable, wrapping itself around them. "We need to leave now." But he couldn't turn away. The shadows shifted, coalescing into grotesque shapes. Figures took form, their faces obscured a legion of despair that mirrored the lost souls he felt within himself. They whispered, hurling taunts and fears, sowing doubt in the fertile soil of his mind. "Do you think you can fight forever?" One voice, darker than the rest, slithered through the air. "We are what you fear, your past and your future all wrapped into one." Each word dripped with scorn. "Let go, boy. Embrace the void." "No!" Jonah shouted, but panic clawed at his chest, the shadows pulsing more aggressively, feeding off his fear. The light fought back, flickering, strained under the weight of countless whispers. He had to stand firm, keep the flame bright. Sarah grabbed his arm, grounding him. "We aren't alone in this. Remember them. They are with us, their hope is your strength." Jonah's gaze locked onto hers. "Yes." Her words ignited a spark deep inside, rekindling the courage he thought lost. With a deep breath, he focused, channeling every ounce of light he could muster, summoning it into a brilliant sphere in his palm. "Join us," the voices merged, congealing into a horrid harmony. "Stop fighting, become one with us, never." Jonah screamed, and as the energy swelled within him, the light blazed with a ferocious intensity. The sphere lifted from his palm, expanding, casting the shadows aside like autumn leaves. The creature snarled, its twisted face marred by fury, feeling the encroaching warmth, but the laughter continued, a cacophony that tightened in his chest. "You don't even know the real battle, Jonah. It's not just against darkness, it's within you." A wave of dread washed over him, sudden and sharp. Doubt wrapped around him again like a vice. What did it know? What part of him had it found? "Focus!" Sarah shouted, breaking through the fog. "We have to push it back. You're stronger than this." Strong enough, he felt the light swell again, fueled by their united hope. Was it faith? Was it love? Whatever it was, it surged within him. He turned, arms raised, letting the brilliance erupt in a fiery halo. It danced and flickered, pushing against the dark, forcing it to recede. Yet even as the shadows thinned, Jonah sensed that chilling voice, lingering in the corners of his mind. "You cannot escape. The truth will find you in ways you cannot imagine, Jonah." He whipped around as Sarah's eyes flickered with alarm. A tendril of darkness lashed out, clawing at her. She staggered back, the light winking perilously. A scream escaped her lips, piercing through him with ice-cold horror. "Hold the light!" His heart screamed in protest. "No!" Jonah lunged, putting himself between Sarah and the advancing shadow. The darkness wrapped around him, a serpent of despair, squeezing his resolve. "Join us, be one with the shadows," the creature whispered seductively, the pull of it overwhelming. "Never!" he roared, pouring his spirit into the light, forcing the darkness back, but the creature only laughed. A crack echoed through the air, sudden and shattering, the ground quaked beneath them. And just when he thought he had control, a blinding flash erupted, the world spinning. As it all went white, Jonah felt himself falling, losing the connection to the light and to everything. As consciousness ebbed away, the last thing he heard was Sarah calling out to him, her voice swallowed by the void. Would he wake up from this nightmare? Or was this the end? He could only hope, or perhaps the darkness was right. Perhaps this was merely the beginning. Jonah felt weightless, suspended in a murky expanse where every sound and sensation faded into nothingness. The darkness was all-consuming, wrapping around him like a blanket woven from fears too numerous to name. He struggled, but it felt as if his limbs were made of lead, as if he were drowning in a sea of shadows. Suddenly, a flicker of warmth broke through the suffocating void. It was faint, like sunlight peeking through thunderclouds, igniting a spark of hope within him. He grasped at it, urging it to grow, willing himself to find the light once more. With a gasp, Jonah's eyes flung open. He lay on cool, uneven ground, the oppressive shroud of darkness now replaced by a vibrant spectrum of colors swirling around him. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, but they were distant, almost playful. Jonah sat up, heart drumming like a caged bird. "Sarah!" he croaked, voice hoarse. There was no answer, only a faint echo of his own words as they faded into the surreal landscape of vibrant hues. He rose unsteadily, taking in his surroundings. Was this a dream? The colors pulsed as if alive, a tachycardic heartbeat beneath his feet. Though frighteningly beautiful, a shiver of apprehension tangled in his gut. Chill winds whispered secrets, taunting him, reminding him of the chaos left behind. "Focus," he muttered to himself. He closed his eyes, trying to feel for that brilliant light again. Sarah needs me, but there was something else, a prickling sensation crawling at the back of his mind, urging him to remember. Jonah felt a jolt as an unsettling vision flashed before him. He saw a child standing alone, surrounded by shadows. In that moment, he understood. "Not alone," he whispered, heart hammering. The dark was not just an opponent, it was a reflection of his own lost innocence, everything he had ever feared or regretted. Suddenly, the colors dulled, drawn back into the void. Jonah's breath hitched. The shadows began to coalesce, morphing into the distorted figures he had seen before. This nightmare was not yet finished. "Remember us, Jonah," a chorus of voices reverberated, each one more unnerving than the last. They circled him, hungry and expectant. "We are the echoes of your past, the burdens you have cast aside. You cannot escape us." "No!" Jonah shouted, reclaiming his voice, his resolve. "You don't control me." He took a step forward, and the colors reignited, brighter than before, as if accepting his command. The shadows hissed, retreating as the brilliance of his spirit surged. A protective barrier formed, pushing them back, but not vanquishing their presence. They remained, mere inches away, relentless in their haunting. "Is this a fight? Or a reconciliation?" One dark figure taunted, its voice slippery, shifting with malice. "You fear us, and so we thrive." "Fear?" Jonah's voice trembled, but inside, a fierce flame ignited. "You're everything I refuse to be." He thrust his palms forward, willing the brilliance to expand, the colors vibrant against the encroaching darkness. The shadows surged back, hissing like steam. Jonah could feel his strength erupting with the warmth of the sun, turning the tide. Yet, deep inside, he felt the uncertainty clawing at his resolve. "Sarah, where are you?" Panic clawed at him as the colors began to dim again. If he lost himself again, if this resurgence failed, He might never find her. The shadows crept into his thoughts, whispering doubts and insecurities. Join us, Jonah. Remember the child heaving under the weight of fear, the one you abandoned. He needs you, and so do we. No. He cried out, tears stinging his eyes. I'm not that child. I won't let fear define me. Just then, with a pulse harder than before, the vibrant colors exploded outward, casting away the shadows for a moment, revealing the shape of a figure standing behind them. Jonah's breath caught in his throat as he registered the familiar face. It was Sarah, standing unharmed, but fear written across her features. Jonah! She called, extending her hand, the shadows wavering at her presence. He reached out, heart racing. But the tendrils off. Darkness lunged, wrapping around her in a desperate bid to pull her back. No! He bellowed, a surge of desperation exploding through him. The shadows hissed, their forms warping and multiplying. Will you save her? They mocked, or will you succumb to joining us? His heart split, grappling with dread and determination. It was time to confront not only the shadows around him but those deep within. Jonah took a breath, anchoring himself in the moment, and prepared for a clarity he had yet to embrace. This was no longer just about the light, it was about embracing every part of himself. As he focused on Sarah, the darkness closed in, and he felt the world around them start to swirl. Would he reclaim his strength, or would the shadows reclaim them both? The answer hung heavy in the air, thick with anticipation. Jonah's pulse quickened as he felt the weight of the shadows, their presence clamoring to pull him into their abyss. The vibrant colors around him pulsed uncertainly, teetering on the edge of collapse. Hold on, Sarah! He shouted, his voice fierce and raw. The shadows tightened their grip, their laughter raw and penetrating, echoing in his mind. Foolish boy, they whispered, weaving through his thoughts like a cold wind. You think you can save her? She is already slipping away. Just like the child you abandoned, like you abandoned yourself. No! Jonah roared, feeling that deep-rooted pain surge within him, flaring up brighter than the vibrant colors. I want to listen to you. I know what you are. I know who I am. His heart pounded, each beat infused with a newfound clarity. As he stepped closer to Sarah, the shadows writhed, twisting and contorting around her like snakes seeking to constrict. Jonah thrust his hands together, summoning every ounce of light he could muster. Be free! He bellowed, hoping not just to reach her, but to pull her from the void of doubt and despair that had ensnared him for so long. The light sent a cascade of warmth through the frozen air, igniting a spectrum that erupted like fireworks, scattering the shadows momentarily. They screeched, recoiling from the brilliance that enveloped Jonah like a protective cocoon. But Sarah remained trapped, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. Jonah, please! She cried, trembling. I'm scared. I don't want to be lost. Her plea dug deep into Jonah's heart, barbing his soul with guilt and rage. The shadows seized on it, twisting the knife of panic. You will lose her, boy. She can't survive in the light with the darkness so close. It's her or you. Choose now. Never. Jonah shouted back, the decision ignited in his gut. He took a step forward, determination radiating from his soul. I choose us. I want to abandon you. At that moment, a surge of golden light erupted from him, blasting through the air, and illuminating the shadows. The figures dissipated, roaring like angry beasts receding into the nothingness from whence they came. But the price was steep. Jonah felt his own energy draining with each pulse of illumination, every ounce of strength drawn in defense of Sarah. Jonah! She screamed, suddenly caught in a whirlwind of dark shadows, flinging around her like a tempest. The brilliance started to dim, and panic seized him. "Stay with me, Sarah. Fight it!" he cried out, stretching toward her, every muscle screaming with effort. Time slowed as he felt the tether connecting them begin to fray. "Hold on." He thrust his palm forward, willing the light to burn brighter until the moment cracked, and a shimmering portal opened up right in front of them. "Go!" Sarah urged, her voice strong despite the tears streaming down her cheeks. "Run through it. I'll be right behind you." "Not without you." But as quickly as it had opened, the portal began to pulse, threatening to close under the pressure of the shadows returning in a terrible wave. "Jonah!" Sarah shouted, fear palpable in her tone. "You have to trust me." In that split second, what was left of Jonah's resolve wavered. Did he risk everything to follow her? Would he keep fighting, or would he be swallowed by shadows? With the weight of his decision looming, Jonah was torn between the dark and the light. The whispers of the shadows crawled back into his mind, mocking him, tormenting him with the specter of abandonment, his own guilt manifesting at the very edge of his vision. As the portal flickered, Jonah's heart raced. "Run!" Sarah bellowed, her voice now a beacon of hope cutting through the noise. With one last look into her eyes filled with fierce determination, he dove for the portal, desperation fueling his every movement, but the darkness lunged to snatch him back, and as Jonah's body crossed the threshold, the world around him shattered into a kaleidoscope of brilliance, colors whirling faster than he could grasp what awaited him on the other side. The moment he stepped through, silence enveloped him, and dread settled like a weight in his chest. Had he made it? As he staggered to regain his footing, Jonah could only sense that he was not alone. Something else lingered in the shadow of the void, waiting for him to turn around the darkness. Was it truly behind him, or had it followed him through the portal? Jonah's gut twisted, knowing the answer wouldn't wait long to reveal itself. Jonah stood in the eerie silence, a flicker of trembling breath escaping his lips as he gathered himself. His heart still thudded wildly, drowning out thoughts and memories of the shadows. He blinked, adjusting to the dim light that filtered through a set of ancient trees. With a deep breath, he stepped forward into a clearing. Sarah, the name faltered on his lips, the air heavy with loss. Where was she? A bone-chilling wind whispered through the trees, rustling the leaves in a mourning tone. He spun around, instinct fiercely ignited within him. If he had crossed into the realm of the conquered spirits, he had to find her, had to confront whatever remnants of darkness lurked here. "Stay strong," he whispered to himself. "You've already faced the shadows. Sarah is waiting." As he pulled himself from uncertainty, a soft glow appeared in the dimness, rippling in the distance. The sparkle beckoned, woven through beams of light that danced and swayed, illuminating his path. Jonah moved toward it, unsure but resolute, chasing hope as it flickered. "Jonah!" Sarah's voice rang out, filled with relief and urgency, yet tinged with pain. His heart leaped as he sprinted toward the soft shimmer, drawing closer to the light. But when he reached it, he found her caught in a web of shadows, her arms flailing to escape their grasp. "Hold on!" he shouted, adrenaline surging through him. Reaching for her, he felt the warmth of their connection igniting again, a reminder that they were stronger together. "Jonah, I can't break free." "The shadows," she gasped, struggling against the restraints that gripped her. He pushed through the swirling mist of darkness that threatened to wrap around him, calling upon the warmth of light within himself. "Believe in me. We can escape this." With every ounce of energy focused on her, he felt a pulse of light resonating between them, a conduit of unbound strength connecting their souls. Jonah extended his hand, and the golden aura exploded forth, illuminating the air thick with shadows, pushing against them with a force of burning determination. "Join us." The shadows hissed, distorting their forms, their voices a haunting echo around him. "No!" Jonah yelled as he funneled the glow deeper into the blackness, each breath igniting his resolve. "You will not take her from me." The shadows twisted violently, and with a surge of courage, he shouted, "You have no power here." A bright flash erupted, casting the grotesque forms back. Sarah blinked up at him, still ensnared, but her eyes gleamed with hope. "Jonah! You can do it. We can be free." Jonah gritted his teeth, pulling from the very depths of his spirit. He felt each moment crystallize, knowing this was their last chance. "On 3. He called out as the darkness riped. 1. Jonah cried, gathering the light. 2. Sarah echoed, their hearts synchronized, pumping with joint defiance. 3. With a fervent roar, he seized the light fully, casting it outward, enveloping them. The shadows shrieked, shriveling under the intensity, as they ripped through the murk like fire through paper. The shackles around Sarah disintegrated. She was free, and they collided into each other, arms wrapping tight as the light surged around them, pulsing like a living heartbeat. Together, Jonah whispered fiercely, feeling her heartbeat against his. Together, they stepped forward into the luminous glow, emerging from darkness into a world anew, a sunlit glade, green and vibrant, strewn with wildflowers that flourished beneath golden skies. The shadows faded to distant memories, echoing whispers, images of all they had faced flashing momentarily behind them, all born from fear's turned ally. Did we win?" Sarah breathed, her eyes sparkling, a tentative smile breaking through her lingering fear. Jonah nodded, wrapping his arms around her tightly. "We did it. We faced the darkness and reclaimed ourselves." For a moment, the joy bubbled, heavy with relief. But then the memory of their battle loomed, shadows lingering just beyond their vision, a reminder that the light must be maintained, the balance preserved. "Do you think they're gone?" Sarah questioned, searching his face, worry etched in her features. Jonah shrugged, feeling the weight of their journey settle in his heart, a bond formed from collective strength and understanding. "Maybe they never really leave. But we've proved that light can overcome darkness. We just need to stand strong and united whenever they whisper." A deep sense of understanding washed over them, glimmers of hope stitched into the fabric of their being. As they began to walk through the vibrant meadow, hands intertwined, they carried the realization that their power was rooted not just in defeating darkness but in embracing the light they had awakened within. "Let us find our way home," Jonah suggested, eyes sparkling with renewed purpose. "No matter what awaits, together we can conquer any shadows." And with that shared resolve, they took their steps forward, leaving the past behind them as they faced the bright and twisting avenues of their future, a space where even shadows could only serve as contrast to the brilliant luminosity of their journey ahead. Beaming with hope, Jonah knew this was their moment, one of many to come, but now, you need to join this journey. Make sure you subscribe immediately so you don't miss any exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now. It helps the algorithm so more fans like you can find us. Flood the comments section with your thoughts about Jonah and Sarah's adventure. What do you think the darkness will do next? And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means the world to us. Be part of the family that stays connected.